misunderstanding throughout this debate that the negative team has been calling our arguments Western-centric. The reality of it is that we fundamentally agree with most of what they're saying, but the difference is the conclusion, right? Of whether or not there is an ethical obligation. And I think that's the key issue of what an ethical obligation entails. You have to, coming out of this round, you have to understand what the affirmation are coming from. Their idea is that we're placing restrictions, but that is not necessarily true. So the idea is that an ethical obligation even exists even if no action is taken. That even if a country takes no action, doesn't Uganda does not necessarily have to revert all their energy to renewable energy by tomorrow, right? Like even if they take no action tomorrow, when we affirm that every country has moral obligation, an obligation still exists. The violation of an ethical code or a moral code does not deny the existence of a moral obligation, right? If something, even if they can't meet it now, doesn't that mean that they should? It is the should question that we are arguing today about. For example, I think there are two wrong presumptions that the negative has of the affirmative. First is that that any climate change action would require trade-offs, because we advocate for a tailored approach. They say things like examples where we don't consider the implications where some research, some possibilities are not suited for different countries. Well, that's why we're saying countries should decide themselves. They don't consider the vast possibilities that a country could pay a carbon tax. They can have carbon capture sequestration. They can have renewable energy. They can have fuel economy standards. These are all mechanisms for a country to choose from. What they're saying is that they're by advocating their advocacy says that there is no possibility for these countries, and that's where we think that's wrong. That there are a country has possibilities to choose from, and this is where we believe that climate change is a magnifier for all the impacts that they have outlined. That that because the states have an obligation to their future assistance, that it still entails action now. Because again, even if there are no possible actions, does not deny the existence of a moral obligation. That is a key aspect of what they are misunderstanding here. But going on to their specific case, is that there are two arguments for delineation between developing countries and developed countries, who are still on two bad standards. I think they still haven't clearly given us a good reason why we should evaluate this. Because first is the historical responsibility, and second is the per capita. First, the per capita standard is bad because it doesn't necessarily consider the fact that people will be moving to, corporations can move their factories to different countries, right? Corporations can't necessarily be held responsible like states. And the fact that if they move to different countries, it will create a situation where all countries will try to stay below the per capita level, but it doesn't really help with addressing climate change, right? If every country suddenly shoots their, even if they're very far below the per capita level, they shoot to the maximum, that's what it's going to create, that incentive to just be right below that maximum level. And second is the historical responsibility, because the historical responsibility isn't a necessarily a good example, because global climate change is a pressing issue right now, right? If a proper analogy would be like, if there's a fire right now, we won't necessarily discuss who has responsibility. Our first goal, immediate goal, is to put out the fire, right? And I think in that sense, we don't say our advocacy for developing countries to have a responsibility. It's not saying that they're responsible for climate change. It's saying that we should address the immediate concern of climate change, and this is delineate responsibility and how reparations can be in the future. Their argument that says that developed countries have been historically bad towards developing countries is not a relevant question, because sure, there's no guarantee for foreign aid, but our question is that there should be, that developed countries should get foreign aid. The fact that it has not worked is not indicative of the lack of moral obligation. It's just saying that there are problems out that we need to fix through more discussion and more policy implementation.